Great. Welcome, everyone, to Senate Economic Development, Housing and General Affairs. We have a full day, and we're going to be beginning with discussing our budget priorities and trying to land on them for our Senate Appropriation Committee colleagues. And then we're going to be moving to unpaid leave and cannabis. So we have a full morning of Senate Economic Development discussions. So we're going to begin with the spreadsheet that Thomas is going to put up, which we all are going to weigh in on. And I would urge us to weigh in with what we want and what we in our hearts really support. Obviously, we're doing it in a context of trying to be realistic about what's going on both in our economy and what's happening federally and what's happening with our state budget at the moment. I'm not compelled to think small. I like to think big. So, I think of channeling Daniel Burnham all the time, make no little plans, make big ones. And then you can always edit out, but it's hard to add in. So with that in mind, I also would like to look to, as we look through these individual lines, I'd also like to remind ourselves that we only have, even at our best, we only have just under 3 million allotted for economic development. We have like 36 million in housing. So I just want to remind ourselves that the major dollar investments we make in this committee generally are housing. The Economic Development Act are much smaller. And I think not that we weigh them comparably, but that we be thoughtful about that piece of it as well, because I think we don't want to. And then, of course, our labor ask is the smallest. Really, at the moment, our labor ask, independent of workforce development, our labor ask is only $250,000 for the labor board. So with that, let's start. Thomas, would you be kind enough to describe what you've created for us with Patrick Titterton? Thank you, Patrick.
Love to set this up a little bit. So the committee did receive this yesterday, and this is building off of what Patrick Titterton pulled together for us. So this data in each of these columns, especially the first 6 columns, have to do is from Patrick, and the first column is from the governor's recommended budget. There are, for example, some of these that this was in the base and it was moved to one time at the House. So there's some degree of detail that is not captured in this spreadsheet. But what I like about this spreadsheet is it then compares what the House passed as what the agency asked for, so that we can see what the governor recommended, what the House passed, what the agency asked for, what our committee has passed through the different bills that have come out. And this last column, which is new to those watching on YouTube and here in the room, this is if we gave the maximum amount across these 4 amounts, that would be a total of $84 million. So if we gave everybody everything, that would be spending about $84 million. Relative to the governor's recommend, which was about 68 million, the House, which cut it down to 50, I'm assuming because they moved 18 million in different priorities outside of the scope of what we're looking at here.
And also they made decisions with the BAA still in play.
Right.
So I will remind us all that a lot of our housing expectations were being covered in the Budget Adjustment Act, which has evaporated. So
what I did yesterday and what Senator Weeks did, and I offered to other committee members, but by no means was it homework, was just in an attempt at just going through, looking at these line items for what we understand about them, and to try to get this to a range of, I believe it was communicated in conversation, between 50 and 55 million. I want to give Senator Weeks credit. He is more fiscally conservative than me. He came in under my amount. His total amount is at $55,319,774. And so what I heard the chair say that might be useful for us with our 45 minutes that we have today is to go through each of these line items and basically pare back this column right here. This is what, if we gave everybody everything, 84 million, but based on the priorities that we have individually, do we agree, for example, starting with BHIP, that we should match the governor's recommend, match the House's budget, match what we passed? I think that's pretty easy.
I think that's perfect. So there are 2 caveats, and then David, I just want to let you know that the Arts Council, we can take out the $1 million. That is a federal required match. So Andy said, don't bother weighing in on that, because they have the talk about the 120, which is the program that they suggested additionally. But the $1 million ask is one that they have to match federally. That's basically a non-discussable, I mean, a non-negotiable one, sadly. I mean, not sadly, happily, but, and then the other one, we have a duplication in the RPCs. Let me just finish one second. We have a duplication in the RPCs on the brownfields. The RPCs, sorry, what? Ah, okay. Oh, that's very useful. I don't know. That would have been good. Anyway, so the RPCs, I believe, is a duplication, and unless they're
So I
here, RPC funding is not anything we have discussed here. This is not that $7 million is, I don't know where that came from. That's not a line item that we have even discussed. But the RPC's brownfields is included in our $4 million piece that we did. That was $2 million for ACCD to distribute in grants and $2 million for RPCs. So just to clarify those pieces as we go through this. So I think I've clarified all the things.
those three rows I have nullified with gray and to strip the money out. So that's what
You are
see here.
each. Yeah, the RPCs are there, are separate. We had not even a discussion about carrying the RPC money here.
So there are two columns. This one right here, we could do high, higher, or highest, which was suggested yesterday.
Okay.
I like that.
I think we should do that as well, quite frankly, because so we do what 5, 4. What are we doing? H.
Oh, well, I got a little, you can't really see it. I meant for it's high,
Oh,
higher, or highest. And I can correlate that to 1, 2, and
Okay,
3.
perfect. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready to start?
Absolutely. In the first line item, I can see, Dave, you doubled the amount for VHIP to $8 million. So
Yeah, so I just did some very basic math. The VHIP house is 40K roughly on an average thereabouts. That's 100 houses. With 4 million, that's only 100 houses.
The average grant is 38.
Okay, so I used 40.
Yeah,
I was just
right.
doing it, right? 100 houses. Again, I've got 2,000 in my county alone. There's a housing crisis, return on investment, best bang for the buck. VHIP. To me, it's a no-brainer. I would double the 8 million.
Great.
So
So,
statewide impact.
right.
I don't get it. I'm completely lost on how we're prioritizing new construction versus rehabilitation or renovation, whatever.
Well, and bringing on new units, bringing new units back online, it is our most affordable bang for the buck. I agree. So you're at 8 on that, and Thomas, you are.
I matched what the governor recommended with the House budget at 4 million, but I do agree this is the very highest priority, and I'd be comfortable now setting it as highest, and then maybe we come back to the 8 million after we look at where you got that savings from. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And Randy, where do you weigh in?
Same. I agree.
At 4, yeah, I'm at 4 also. So we can weigh in there.
Brownfields, the
And
match.
I would say, just to go to our highest, high, I would say that's our highest.
Great.
What do you guys think?
Agree.
Yeah, okay. Second, brownfields.
We passed 4 million. Gov recommended 2 million. Agency asked for 2 million. My priority was 2.5 million. Senator Weeks came in at 3 million.
Randy?
2.5.
So I'm with Weeks at 3.
Where does that leave us?
And so I would say it's also a highest priority because it's serving heart and horse.
Yep.
We need the horse first.
Split it to 2 points.
So, and we'll see what Keisha weighs in because
She did give us these comments. I feel like watching what Keisha gave. For MHIR, that governor recommend 2. I'm at 2. Senator Weeks did cut that 2 million from the middle housing. I think this is where you found the savings for VHIP.
So, sorry, this is the manufactured housing.
I'm sorry, manufacturing this. Yeah.
This is the mobile home park renovation projects. 2. And Randy, what did you? You're 2. I'm just gonna hold it 2. Randy, what? I mean,
said 2.
yeah. And David, what's your thought?
I zeroed that out. I need to put money into VHIP.
Well, that's good because you gotta find it somewhere. Okay, so and I would put that as a high, maybe not highest, but I would put that as high. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's high.
Yeah. Okay,
For those at home, I know these are important programs. I'm not making light of these things. It's just a complex task. And so we're trying to,
We're trying to add
Not
some
everybody's
levity
gonna
in a
be
very sober subject. How about that? Adding levity in a sober subject. It all, yeah,
Infrastructure Sustainability Fund, the governor had 9.1, House passed 7.5. I went to 7.5 and so did Senator Weeks.
I think I'm in the same boat. And I would say though, that it's a highest because, and
Yeah.
I'll say why I think that, because if we look at what enables direct housing build, this is hopefully a piece that will enable it along with CHIP. So to me, CHIP and this is way too little. I mean, the House came in at 15 million on this, I believe. But it's a pilot in a way also. So let's see how it does. Let's see how quickly it's used and for what purpose. And we'll review it again next year. For me, this is getting it started, which is great. So 70.5 is inadequate, but there we are. I think I land there.
Middle income home ownership.
And sorry, just on the priority is it, I would list it as the highest, but what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay.
If I could, I'd
Yeah.
match the governor's request, but dollar wise, it just pencil out. So, but I certainly get the intent. And I agree with highest.
Okay, so far so good. So on this next one, this is a little more complicated because we were also asked, we have this note from VHFA basically asking us to look at all of them in total at 17.5, which, as you will note, their original ask was 30,750,000. The original ask, if you look at all the pieces that VHFA was doing. So the question, they landed and proposed that they figure it all out within a $17.5 million bucket. I believe that's correct. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong.
The House passed 17.5 million bucket between these two. I could cut it to find some savings, the middle income ownership to 7.5 million. Senator Weeks, you shifted it all.
I did shift it to the revolving loan bucket. I think that's a better investment.
Yeah. It certainly gets more housing units built. So Randy, where are you on this?
Sort of ambivalent between the two.
I at least started where the House landed.
At least,
debate.
yeah, that's a minimum. Whether or not we need to go to 15 or somewhere in between. I realize we have to get these savings. If we're gonna hit this budget target, that's the.
Well, we don't have a
We don't
budget
have-
target, I will just say.
We mentally have an overall
Some of
target
you-
of 50,
yeah.
55.
Where are you landing, Randy?
I'm gonna land at 10.
For each of them?
The House did 10 million for middle income and 7.5 for rental housing. I will admit, I don't know enough about these programs to have a strong opinion on either of these, so I'm looking to those that are more familiar with water service on the committee to sway this discussion.
So Randy, you're
I'm
at
at 10 and 10.
10 and 10, okay. I am going to go to 7.5 for middle income and 10 for rental housing. And then the question, because I think the revolving loan fund is so important. Well, they're all important. This is what's the awful choice? The Solomon's choice.
Sophie's choice.
Solomon's, yeah. I also want to make sure that we have the money for first gen, and I believe they're going to figure out where to pull that million from, or are we adding $1 million on that? I was not clear on that.
Well, this shift does better reflect Senator Weeks' prioritization of this program. Could we land there for now?
For 1 million,
What you suggested, Chair, 7.5 for middle income and 10 million to rental housing.
that would be fine with me. I just want to make sure that first gen is in there as well. And I am
Prioritization on middle income home ownership, highest.
higher,
Sorry, sorry, what are you asking?
So middle income home ownership, would you rate
I would
that
say
as-
that was high. What do you think, David?
middle income.
Yeah,
Oh, it's high.
yeah, it is high. It is definitely high.
Same.
And I would say the revolving loan fund is highest.
And just with Chuck, like this is a politician's ranking system. Oh. Sorry.
So how are you feeling about the revolving loan fund?
It seems
Higher.
higher, yeah.
So is higher in between high and highest?
I would
Okay,
go
then let's put it at higher. Gonna,
higher. So that's what I have.
and then we may have to sing, gonna take you higher.
So for first generation
Okay.
home ownership, I did zero it out. So did Senator Weeks. I think I just heard the chair say this is an important priority.
It's for me an important priority, Randy. I know it's not for you. And so that ask though, I have a feeling that it's incorporated into some of this. I just can't remember what Chad said yesterday, but you'll remember he said something okay, so $1 million for me, and I know Keisha will have it as somewhere on there.
We only passed 250,000.
No, that was for tax credits. That is slightly different, and that's what they shifted it up. You'll note that yesterday they had VHFA is requesting one-time $1 million appropriation instead of the tax credit. So they
I don't know the accuracy of this.
So
You want me to change this to $1 million is what we passed?
no, we passed 250 in tax credits. That's what we did. You're right. But their ask has shifted, and instead they are, I believe, not looking for the 250 in tax credits, but doing a straight appropriation.
You want to leave this as an open item? We'll come back to it and Senator Ron
Yes,
here.
yes, exactly. And I think because I'm unclear on that, and maybe they will weigh in, and Chad, maybe more, or somebody is texting us, but I can't see. Okay, so, and I believe the home ownership. So, sorry, let's keep going.
Are you taking questions or comments from the audience?
If there is one, absolutely.
Thank you. Megan Sullivan, Vice President, Government Affairs for the Vermont Chamber of Commerce. I have been working with the HFA on their two
Right.
middle income programs for years now, and including this session. So just they, I think, had been talking about money that they could use for both of the programs.
Yeah.
Less specific, say this much for this program and this much for this program, but if you give us money and then we can determine the need, the desire, for developers and for both. So
Right.
rather than specifying between the programs,
That was my
saying
understanding.
HFA gets this much money for
Right.
these middle income programs.
So,
Just throwing that.
yes, no, I believe that is sort of the note that we got from Chad yesterday. And so I'm happy to look at 17.5. I think that's where we were for all of the HFA. Is that your understanding, Megan?
Yeah, of what they were looking for and what we had
Right.
been supporting.
So that would take us through down to municipal technical advisory grant program.
Can I ask for a clarification?
Yes.
You just
Yeah.
stated. So did I hear you say that you're really lumping these 4 line items, which we have as ACCD agency?
Yes, because they send it out to the HFA.
And did I hear you say that you want the total of these 4 to be 17.5 million? So
I
we
believe-
could nullify these just to make our numbers match.
I believe that's right. Is that your understanding too, Megan? That's my understanding, and obviously we can talk to, yeah,
But we're also not prioritizing between some of
absolutely.
these bigger drivers.
No, we're
I
gonna,
mean,
we're gonna prioritize too.
we are,
We're gonna share our priority.
the
For each one of
HFA
them.
is not. They just
The
want.
HFA is, but we will. So I hear you. The HFA will, I'm gonna let SAC weigh both our prioritization and the money piece, and they can work that out. Unless we would rather separate it out, but I think the HFA has asked us to look at it as a group, and pass it. I would say that we've just weighed in on the middle income, and we sadly need to keep moving here just for this first brush stroke. But middle income, I think we just weighed in on is high, and rental housing revolving loan fund is higher or highest. I can't remember which one. Higher, and then for me, first gen is higher. And hi Patrick, we're wading our way through this. And I know Randy, it's not a priority for Randy. And David, are you
Which one are you on now?
first gen?
What I'm hearing though, in the interest of time, is that we could
Yes, we can just put those all together at
assume
17.5.
those are somehow going to be allocated within the 17.5.
Right. And I would say all of their programs if we're going to
That's
lump.
one way to approach it.
Okay, we can,
So David, I would.
I'm just listening.
No, you're
This is the
not.
first time watching this exercise.
my first time doing this.
Yeah,
Are you doing extremely well?
he is.
Thank
I think actually we're all doing well. And I would suggest that given that we're lumping them together financially, that we just lump them all together as a higher priority. Unless people would like to call them the highest.
Well, why did we get them broken down in the first place?
Okay, because I think at the moment that may take us too much time. We have a lot of lines to go through. So let's consider this, come back to this. I think this deserves coming back to. I think we probably all have some agreement on as we keep going down. So municipal technical advisory program.
You're gonna check it.
Oh, Patrick.
So Pat Dickerson, Joint Fiscal Office, did you get clarity on what VHF is? for
Yeah.
last one?
17.5.
Okay, and how it's broken up?
Is that correct?
17.5 was what was from the House, right? And Chad told me they're comfortable with.
Yes, that
They want-
includes first gen.
Yeah, and so what was passed out of here was that tax credit.
Yes.
The 250,000. What they're saying is they want that as an appropriation instead of 1 million
Yes,
within 17.5.
I think I represented that.
Yeah, I think that,
Thank you. So yes,
Okay.
so that's $1 million in addition to the 17.5 or?
No, that's within it, so.
So that's within, that's
So
what
they
I
were
thought.
saying reduce the other two.
All right, keep doing it.
That the House had by 500,000 each.
So,
I pulled $1 million from the rental housing and then added it down here to the first generation of ownership.
My understanding was proportionally reduce the two other, so 500,000 from each.
I'm gonna propose we decide these two rows and move on to the next.
yeah, I would agree, given our time frame, but it's 17.5 is their total ask. Municipal, technical assistance program.
This is the highest for me. I did lower it to 2 million just because I wanted to be as fiscally conservative as Senator Weeks, but I'm happy to match the 3 million.
It's not a competition.
I agree with highest.
Highest, and Randy, what would you put it at?
No problem with highest.
What amount would you put it at?
We've got right now at 3.
Then
That's the ask.
the governor's recommendation, and it is VLCT based.
I go with it.
So I would say 2 also. Just, I would say 2 and I would say highest. Now, VHCB, Andy said they are considering this separately from whatever, that our weighing in is critically important, but that because it's such a huge piece of our housing budget, that they are looking at this separately. They're looking at it in light of the fact that BAA didn't pass, and he was in talking with the treasurer about that additional money. So in some ways it's independent of ours, but I would, thank you, Michael. I know what that is.
Just nullify it for now because it's outside the scope of our prioritization.
I would make a separate note that it's, if we can, I think it's highest priority. And I think I would like to do it. I just love to ask the SAC to fund it as fully as they're able. So I think Gus yesterday asked us for anywhere from his BAA money, the 8.5 to 25 million. And so I would hope, I was going to recommend 15. I know that's higher than any of you probably would have, but we might just put a note here. anyway, I would entertain a thought on that, and we can also come back to that. But it's just given how big their umbrella is and how much they affect statewide and how important their money is in leveraging other money. It's sort of like the foundation block to housing. Is that a fair way of putting it, Chris?
Yes.
The VHCB money is just so critically important to everything else you see up there.
Yeah. Is there a limit as to how much affordable housing we could produce, given the labor and other kinds of issues associated with it? We run up against the wall. But you could put $1 zillion there, but can't do it all.
True, but that's their challenge. We're right now just gonna work on the,
They
we're
said
gonna work
they,
on the work.
basically, had they said that they could do it, we raised
Right.
it right. That's really my question.
That's a good question.
Sure.
Chris, do you have an
Chris
answer?
Donnelly, Champlain Avenue Trust. I know they have a pipeline of $50 to $60 million worth of requests coming to them. And so that's real.
A doable request.
Yes.
I'm just really grounded in the reality of the numbers. And if we do 15 million, I just wonder how feasible this really is. So that's why I support the 5 million for the house at most, and then even possibly cutting it. I also understand that this is above the other base appropriation, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not against this. I'm just trying to
Right.
live within our means.
Okay, so highest priority and we hope you did brilliantly upstairs. Okay, we're on the VHCB line item. And the challenge here is, so I think we all are probably agreed it's highest priority. And the question is, if there's a dollar amount we feel comfortable putting it at, or if we want to just say to the appropriations committee, as much as you can manage. Because they're going to be heavily constrained. I think let Keisha get her bearings here.
I mean, I guess what I would say is they're going to be able to manage more if we deprioritize other things. Like, I guess my common refrain in this will be, we have to be the bad guys if we want VHCB to get a significant amount, which they are the funnel for so many critical.
Yep, they're the foundation upon which a lot of the rest of it.
spectrum. Yeah. So, I mean, my mental analysis was like, go through and cut everything else and then give the rest to VHCB.
Okay, so on that note, I would suggest we, just like the VHFA, I think that the VHCB money we come back to. Okay, but I think we put it as highest priority in the column that is highest. Okay, so next one down is the downtown tax credits. In some ways, this is very similar because this is one of our biggest bang for the bucks. This leverages 16-1. This also just does a huge amount to enable the rest of it. So I would keep it at 5, and because it just can leverage that much more. But I'm sorry, I should be waiting last time. Didn't even leave with that.
High, higher, or
Where are you?
highest?
But
High, higher, or highest?
what did you put it at?
I didn't rank priorities, but I do agree this is a pretty high priority. So I'd go highest.
Yeah. And David, what did you put it in?
Well, the priority was in there.
No,
But I put it higher.
Yeah.
You fully funded it though, at the 5 million.
I did,
for the
yeah.
house.
Okay.
Correct.
I wonder if we can split the difference at 4, because $1 million is a lot to put roofs over people's heads. And like, $2 million is just a really round number when, we're talking about people in the streets and not able to eat. So,
Randy,
But you're cutting it to 5.
yeah,
Raising.
Randy, where are you?
I'd go to 3, but I'd settle for 4 if everybody.
I would go along with 4 as well.
Okay. So, and I would put it as highest if that works for everybody else.
It doesn't work for me. I'm just, if we're having that discussion, I don't know what high, higher, highest means, but
That's what it means. High, higher, or
Is-
highest.
highest to me is people's lives.
Well,
Higher?
So,
yes,
I'm
think
just
that-
saying, what does highest mean to you? Does it mean people's lives? Does it mean you just like it? Like,
Okay, well, right.
Numbers, yeah.
We are, we can show you what we've done so
Let's just
far.
keep going.
but we are,
Is it obvious I really hate group design?
if you don't want to, yeah, we would love to have your input here. Okay, so where are we landing? Should we land at 4?
4 and then
Okay.
higher. We're gonna settle in the middle there.
Great,
Jason.
let's settle it higher.
Vermont Small Business Development Center. So government's recommend 388 and agency
So,
has 60.
On this group, I just want to remind us, our highest priority is housing, but it's also the biggest chunk of all our money, which is, well, it's gonna be well over 35 million by the time we're done. And these are smaller asks, so, and it's just under $3 million, all these smaller asks. So as we go through those, I would just have us consider that this is in that light. So where did people land on the first one, the Small Business Development Center?
Then we can I match the governor's recommend
That's 388.
as we did our whole.
Same.
Oh, same.
I did it.
Oh, you did it.
Yesterday.
Randy, where are you?
Governor's eyes.
Okay, and I would do that 100,000 more. And so I would do it at 488, because it's one of the biggest, most important programs we do for small business development. And I would, for me.
Tom,
I know
finds himself in a difficult position.
So
Well, and I would put it as, I mean, I'm not going to talk about lives with this. I think these are lives and these are business lives. This is revenue for people's lives. I would put it at higher.
Did you all already talk about all the emails we received about the technical assistance program?
No, because we have only 10 more minutes. So we are moving pretty fast. I did not talk about, those were all unleashed on us and we landed at 2 million for municipal technical advisory.
Madam Chair, I put it at 488 per your suggestion. I did sense the majority of the committee was at 388. If you want to continue debate on this or just go with your 488.
I think the committee's weighed in at 388. And the next one, the professionals of color.
Center Weeks did cut this to 0. I went to 200, matching the House budget. Our governor's recommend was 250 and we passed 350. So this is one that's all over the map, so to speak.
Randy, where do you weigh?
I'm not particularly enthusiastic about it at all. I don't know if I go to.
So are you 0?
I would not go to 0 at this point. I would have budget of 200.
With the House?
Mhm.
Keisha?
I'd advocate for 250 at this point. They are asked to do so much by
Yeah.
the state.
Well,
And it is a lot for them to even just manage all those contracts at the state. I actually appreciate the governors and the teams extending to be able to acknowledge that and put them in at a regular amount rather than all these little state contracts that are very hard to
So-
manage.
I would weigh in at 250 as well, and I think that is a higher one as well. Well, those are both higher. For me, those are two of our,
I would just like to say that I fully respect the Weiwei.
wait.
I fully respect what she's doing. I just don't think we don't need to create a subset of constituents who benefit from this and those who don't. That's all I'm saying. I completely respect what she's doing.
Well-
And I'm there too. I
That-
don't like to segment populations and move things in that direction.
If I could just say, and I heavily biased, I mean, Weiwei was at my 2-year-old's birthday party, I'll just say that. But it's a whole team. She's pulled an incredible team together from all over the state. And when the flooding hit our communities, we had FEMA and the small business development
Center.
folks say, we don't do translation. Find a volunteer.
And Weiwei found.
And Weiwei helped so many businesses with $0 that she made this organization indispensable to the state. And we're going to have a bunch of other crises, and it's going to cost us more that people don't have someone filling in the gap.
So I agree with you. I would put it as higher. I'd keep it at 250. And then I would ask us to go to 100 more for small business, which is the umbrella for all small business development. So anyway, that's
Fair.
a personal.
Because you might want to keep sustainable jobs fund and I cut that because.
Okay, so let's let's talk about the rest of them. So
Next,
the next one is the resource guide for small businesses. Where are you all on that?
it wasn't in the governor's recommend, wasn't in the House budget. They asked for 100. We passed 100. I cut it. Senator Weeks cut it. I heard they showed it from.
That's
So
Okay,
not
got it.
high, even high, right?
Randy, where are you?
0.
Okay, so there we are. That is, you know, I would have funded all these, just so you know, at a higher rate. So there we are, we land, I would put it as, yeah, it's unclear to me at the moment, but I think they made a great case for it, and I wish we were able to. Micro business support, where are you on this?
I matched
Tom
the
and
governor's
Dave.
recommend in the House, so did Senator Weeks. We came in higher by about a little less than $100,000.
Yeah, that, which is what they're hoping they're,
I just said 500. It's like an even, but yeah, I'm where you guys are.
okay,
Agreed.
so where are you, Randy?
I'm happy with it.
At $500,000,
Keep it at the
okay,
governor's recommended House budget, just shy of there.
yeah, let's do
Yeah.
500. Great, and I would put that as a higher recommendation. I just think it's, again, just when we go to impact, it's a huge impact. Micro business. Okay, next one. Next one is the Vermont, the Small Business Law Legal Center. They've asked for 300. Thomas, what did you do?
We did cut it in half because I was just looking to
Yeah.
get to, it was in that penciled in box.
Great, David?
Senator Weeks did 120, and this was not in the governor's recommend or the House budget.
Right. And Andy, where are you?
150.
Keisha?
Same.
Okay, me too. Let's do 150.
I
Again, all programs we honor and admire, and so the next one is coaching services for business owners. A new program, I think at this point, where are you, Thomas?
I matched the govs, which the House had cut, and Senator Weeks did cut it as well with the House.
Okay, so you're at 120, you're at 0, David, is that right?
Yeah.
Randy, where are you?
120.
Keisha?
I'm persuadable. I don't know who feels more strongly,
Well,
but whoever made the dollars and cents work is probably who I'm going to go with. Like I didn't add up my bottom line because I did it on paper,
Right.
but we need to get.
I did it on paper, I'm so glad you did it.
Nancy, and I set this up at the
Yeah.
beginning, are those totals at the top, so right now,
Oh,
right now, we started with giving everybody everything they wanted.
Yeah.
Basically cutting that down, we started at 86 million,
Yeah.
now 58 million. This is my amount, this is what Dave Weeks's amount was, what the House effectively passed, so I feel like that's kind of the target-ish.
yeah.
This is what the agency ask is. This is what we
Okay.
passed, that's.
Okay,
Then I cut it.
so I'm at 120, I would keep it in at 120. And make it
What did that add up to?
high. So the Arts
Did
Council,
we just cut the baby? I don't know.
Senator Brock is the deciding vote.
I'm at
he put it in at
120.
120.
And I put it at 120, and one of the reasons is there's very few, relatively speaking, things that we do that has a return on investment that we can measure.
Oh,
Does this,
this is coaching, this is coaching small business owners. So
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I was.
I think you were talking about the
Fulfillment.
media funding.
Yeah, but go back to coaching services, I'm still comfortable with 120.
I guess I'm not trying to be mean spirited here, Senator Brock, but if you had to choose between the film and creative industry and this, they're the same amount, and I don't know that we can prioritize everything.
Well, if I have to choose between two things, when I'm looking about two things that are relatively small, when we're talking about 15 and 17.5 million,
Yeah.
that's a relatively small investment compared to the total.
Did you guys make big cuts above to the millions?
Yes,
Yes.
we'll get back to that in a second, though. Let's keep cruising here.
I'm gonna
We've made
disorient
some.
people with my scrolling, my apologies.
No,
Why
no.
don't I suggest we keep it at the 120 for the coaching
Okay,
services,
let's-
but
right,
set it to high, and that way it will
Right.
sort as a lower priority, reflecting our vote.
So the next thing we have pulled, because as Andy Parchlik and I have agreed, that is a independent, it's not really part of it's part of our job to advocate for it, but it's an independent requirement by the feds that it be matched dollar for dollar. So he says, pull it out of your needs list and
The
they
Arts
will,
Council.
yeah,
Okay.
because we're advocating for it in our bills, but it's not from a budgetary point of view. We don't need to be, including it in our work. However, the 120 we do. So, Tom, where were you on the 120
I'm
for
actually
the?
on 120, but I haven't volunteered yet and I'm hesitant, but during my senior year of college, I actually worked on a Hollywood film that was filmed right here in Vermont, me, myself and Irene. You can see me as a state.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. I worked like 18 days on it and I'd love to see more of that. So I fully support this.
Okay.
This film industry.
Fun fact. Okay, I need to go.
The good news fact.
You got a lot of good shows, like
David-
let's-
David, where are you?
I support the initiative. I just was trying to shave money.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I would leave it at a high. I'm okay with putting the money in, but leave it at a high. I know that's a bit of
At 100 or 120?
120.
Okay. Randy, I know where you are. I
Yep.
think you're 120 in Keisha.
I'm with David.
Okay.
There's gonna be trade-offs to come, I think.
Yeah, no, I think. And then the Labor Relations Board. Here is our one labor ask. This is the only labor ask we have.
What's that to do?
Staff member.
It's a chat, make sure this is the
Why,
labor,
I know, I can advocate for it. Why is it in my spreadsheet?
because it's not, it's on this spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Things were added.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Okay, so they have, as much as we love Patrick, there were a few on that first one that weren't there.
Oh, is this? It's not on that one either.
I know that,
Okay.
not updated.
Okay.
So we caught the things that weren't there. So the Labor Relations Board, you've just been upstairs talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's our one labor ask.
Yeah.
How do people feel? Where do people weigh in?
I would cut other things for this. I guess.
No, I know. So Thomas, where were you?
I did cut it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't know enough about it.
David?
I zeroed it out. I get the concept, just, again, in the grand scheme of financial balance.
And Randy?
Well, this is and ask for resources to be able to manage this process. We changed the process. And I think she had one person.
She has like a part-time clerk.
Yeah, and we're putting on requirements for them to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the point is that without the resource, stuff isn't going to get done. So we just, I think, ask ourselves, is this important enough to do? If it's important enough to do, it has to be funded. If it's not, then eliminate the do, because it isn't going to get done.
Well, we're not able to do that because there are huge numbers of labor needs all over the state that we haven't weighed in on that are just there that have to be addressed.
Can we settle at 100,000? Because I think she'd be thrilled to just have help. This woman's everything by herself.
But, yeah. And again, these are small, relatively small in terms of what. we're
Right,
putting
right,
forward.
right.
There is
So
no,
we just have to prioritize.
Are people
And if
okay?
this stuff needs to be done, we gotta pay for it.
so I hear 100,000 for us to consider in this, where David and Tom, are you okay with that?
Higher highs.
I would say higher.
So we have about 10 more rows to go through.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's keep going.
Okay.
The Vermont Outdoor Recreation, VOBA, the Outdoor Alliance has requested 250. We funded 250. Where are you on this, Thomas?
Climate and
I
circularity.
wrote it out. No, this is a very good program. I just was working, trying to get within that box.
David?
I'm in the same camp as Synergy.
Randy?
Say,
Keisha?
But was persuaded because the governor's rec wasn't there and the House didn't pass it. So
Yeah, I think sometimes these things are maybe,
This is an extremely hard one.
it is.
But I can't say it meets my past of despair for people who don't get resources right now.
right. I'm not sure despair is where I'm optimistic on this because this is a growing business sector that needs more support. And so I would ask us to consider putting it in at 100,000 just because I think it needs encouragement and it needs support. And we've heard some of that need and it is an investment in the future
Did you
and a
not,
growing sector. So I would
did you
ask
all
us,
decide on a figure before I got here?
no, I would ask us not. I mean, we're looking at 50 to 55, I think is sort of roughly.
no hard target.
Okay.
There's no hard target, but we're sort of aiming there.
So put it at 100 with high, which is a lower.
Yeah, to me,
Yeah.
that's at least, I think we want to encourage this industry. We want to support it, but I don't think we can probably do the full ask this year.
I'm just gonna advocate, as we argue for this amount of money or that amount of money, that we do not go above 55.
Okay,
I just think that is,
let's see where we are.
we should
before you
make
get-
real trade-offs. And
And
then we can do higher.
so I'm just saying, that's not our final job. Our job is to advocate for the things we think are worthwhile. Their job is to make the decisions. Andy has not asked us yet to work even within this constraint.
I think it would be a good mental exercise for us to do hard work.
I agree. We're
Well,
doing,
that's why we're also prioritizing.
Mhm.
That will help the appropriations committee dramatically.
right, absolutely, absolutely, David, you are correct.
There's gonna
So-
be less than $55 million.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
moving
But
to
in
the
the
second.
end, they'll just reorder it,
Yeah.
highest at the top, higher, high, and they'll be, they'll just draw a line.
Okay. Okay, next item is the International Trade Office. Both supports the 350 ask that is in the governor's recommend both supports our Quebec office with a modest amount to keep it going. And then it really invests in our independent trade initiatives with Asia and Europe. So given what's happening with the federal government, what context, Thomas, where are you?
I'm
More important as a result.
The House cut
Chaos we have to manage.
agree.
How's cut it out altogether?
I agree with Senator Brock. This is the highest priority for me.
Yeah.
We need to focus on international trade and bend some of the fences.
Okay, and David?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just not sure it's given that we're swimming upstream against a really violent current, I'm not sure this is gonna make much of an impact, but I get it and I support it. I'm not sure.
As much as anything else, there may be an impact, but there's also damage control.
Sure. Same.
Randy, where are you?
I'm at 350.
Okay, Rick Keisha?
I think without a commissioner of economic development, it's not the right time to make this big of an investment until things settle out. I don't think if we have hard decisions to make, I don't think it has to be FY26 budget priority.
So we have the our international trade person who's not moved, Tim Tierney, who's right there.
Right. I'm not gonna
So-
die on this hill, but I wouldn't prioritize it very highly, and
Okay.
To higher or high.
I would put it at higher, maybe not highest, but I'm happy to consider it at higher, but I would also fully fund it.
I would fully fund, and for no other reason, this is damage control. You don't wait, when you're in a hole like this and you have this case, right, you don't wait to fix it later because other people are gonna be heading it.
I do a lot of international relations discussions, and they're just not that expensive to do unless you're leaving the country.
Well,
So I didn't see a line item, but like for this, I didn't see how the money's gonna be spent. I don't think the case has been fully made, but maybe I missed it and I'd be persuaded, but I didn't hear that from anyone.
well, we can chat about it further, but for the moment, I think I hear the committee weighing in at keeping it and.
Yeah, I agree. I also agree that we need to follow up.
Yeah, absolutely, and we should.
Could be really important, could be
Yeah.
plane tickets, like we argued about $9,000,
Okay.
which we're probably not to do.
Tim Tierney, if you're listening and Megan's listening, Megan, we can communicate with Tim. We need more information to actually all of us know. I mean, Tim, if you're listening, please, we need to have you weigh in, but I think at the moment I hear 350 and higher as a priority. Okay, let's keep
It's
going.
interesting, if you look at the amount of time that we spend on items, $15 million item, we spent 2 seconds. The $9,000 item, we spent 10 minutes.
No, it's the $350,000 item.
I say we
The
should
next-
keep the next two at high and move on.
Okay,
Sound
right.
good?
Yes, fine. I think that's fine by me.
Freedom and unity.
Those are our, okay. So our next one is the Freedom and Unity scholarship, VSAC, last dollar in scholarship for families with 750,000 in income or less.
What?
I mean, 75,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my head is there. 75, this is last dollar in, and this is for all Vermont State University enrollees who are eligible. Vermont students. The House passed. So Thomas, where did you end up?
I matched the House at 1.5 million.
Okay, and David?
Yeah, I zeroed it out. Like, again, I have. What challenges me on this is, there's no give back. There's no service requirement. There's nothing except a gift that wants to be involved.
Oh,
I zeroed it, and at best I'd put it as a high.
okay, Randy, where are you?
1.5.
So I'm at 1.5 as well. Kaysar, where are you?
I said this in Senate Education, but I think higher ed is in a very uncertain place right now, and I can understand everybody wanting to speak to little things that they'll do or do better with small amounts of money, but I don't know any of that's true right now. With their relationship to the federal government.
Right.
So
Do not disagree.
I would at the most put it at the House, but I might do $1 million just to sort of make David raise it buys some students, access, and it helps us see how it's working.
I get what it buys.
Yeah,
Just
no,
think that
I hear.
They need to go
I hear.
into they need to be focused on a program that has
Right.
give back to the community at a minimum.
Mhm.
And then the real ask would be
Yeah,
go serve and go public service.
yeah.
David, their staying in Vermont will be a huge service to us. If we we don't have that as a requirement,
No, we don't.
Why don't we put that in as a requirement?
we can consider that when we do our workforce
Okay.
development.
For now.
Okay, so at the moment, there's 1.5 for 3 of us and 1 for 1 person and 0 for the other. So I think at the moment, what's the committee's choice? I think that 1.5, let's do 1.5 and higher or high and move to the HVAC. Tom, where did you land on that?
I'm matched, and I think this is a great program, and I think BSU needs to do more of these types of things. And I think that's a better use of our limited amount of dollars to focus on these apprenticeship programs within our existing higher education infrastructure with BTC.
And I agree with Senator Chinden. Here, you're targeting a specific need, shortage in the state, very focused. Whether
Randy?
they stay in the state or not.
It doesn't pass my test of creating a new program, and I think this is incredibly ripe for donations, for someone to contribute exactly that amount. I could call someone on my phone right now and see what the possibility of that is, but I wouldn't start a new program right now. We don't have a great history in this committee of hearing success within a year when there is so much desperate need. So I would, if you want to take another $500,000 from the program above to fund this, but I can't see a $2 million ask right now
Right. So you're
of any kind for anyone, basically.
So you're 0 and they're 3 at 375. I would take this to 250 and get it launched because I think it's essential. But I hear 3 of you at 375, so I think we should probably keep it at 375. Given there are 3 of you who feel so strongly about it, and I think though in our workforce bill we need to have better reporting back and see better results sooner rather than later. We are going to be revisiting next session a program Keisha and I were involved in. I don't know, it may have been even before Keisha joined this committee, but the dental therapy program, which we're going to be hearing, there's an assessment going on at the moment, and it's going to transition, and we'll hear more about that next session because that's one of the things that
I would do apprenticeship tax credits. I wouldn't give
Right.
them money right now.
So at the moment, let's just see where we are,
I'm not
leaving it
gonna-
where we are. There's 3 out of 5 of us here on supporting 375.
Is that what this is for these tax credits? This house budget, training, construction trades? I don't remember. seeing
No,
reason.
we have not had any testimony on this yet. So 373. Okay, next one is Associated General Contractors. We've had no testimony on this. I don't know how duplicative this is. I generally support construction, and trade training, this is upskilling as far as I know. Does anyone in the room have more information on this than? Because we were, again, this is a little ahead of all our testimony, given our timeframes. So we were going to hear about this in the next few days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
They're coming to.
So was Ben able to come?
Well, he's moving his schedule around.
Okay, great.
Sarah will be.
Okay, Sarah and Ben.
Does anyone recall if there's any insight was offered of why the governor's not supporting this? Is it
I don't think it has been.
CTE guy?
I think in some of these cases, these weren't even presented to be included in the governor's budget.
I don't know what to do with this.
So, we could,
I'm persuadable, but they're coming tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just.
so
Well, to get the deed done, my recommendation is leave it in there,
Yeah.
put it at higher, which is in the middle, and then we can adjust.
right, okay,
You see, but all of these, a number of things we're gonna be talking about here. We have an expenditure to be made. That expenditure has a likely return on investment, but we have no capability in, the way we do fiscal analysis to
Mhm.
project what that return on investment might be.
Isn't that
We don't
the
have any
finance job? The
That will be
workforce
the finance job.
workforce strategy.
Yeah.
If they don't help us with that,
That's
that's not money well spent.
no, I agree, I completely agree.
But the point is, we don't have a way of measuring what that return, we know what we're gonna spend in order to do this training and stuff.
Yeah,
We don't know what we're gonna get back.
Well,
I hope we measure these
I
things.
think we are.
I hope we
don't
measure
think
them
we
in
measure them.
payroll.
I don't think we measure them very
Okay.
well.
Yeah,
Say,
Guys,
are we
we
in fact gonna
need
get it?
to
Right.
have it.
I agree. Let's
Okay,
have Sabina in.
so Sash, our Sash, you heard strong testimony about supportive housing yesterday and how important it was. What are people, the House weighed in. The House weighed in.
No.
The House did weigh in on this. It's in the House bill, is it not, Patrick? I am pretty sure it is because that's the reason we took it up. It was in their bill. So I'm pretty sure.
I have from Patrick that it wasn't in the House budget, but this spreadsheet is still evolving.
Couldn't someone tell me what they said the money would be for positions?
They do community.
I know what Stash does, but
Yeah.
what is the
It's a
money?
pilot. It's a pilot and they were.
Pilot?
It is,
Chris is trying to speak, if that's all right, Madam Chair.
yeah. Right.
This is a pilot that is expanding, this SASH is generally seniors and disabled. SASH for all is using the
Right.
same type of model to supporting families, and they have a successful pilot in Windsor County, Wyndham County.
And what would this money be used for?
It's to continue this staffing for the pilot.
For the pilot?
Yeah.
And it's had huge success in keeping people out of homelessness.
How do they measure the success?
Here,
They did a presentation yesterday.
I did a great
This- yeah.
presentation yesterday, which you have.
And I think it's
somewhere here.
400,000.
It's what?
I think it's 400.
This just found us something.
No. It's in the budget. It's in the House bill.
Should we move on and come back to you soon?
Yeah. Yes.
Vermont,
Sorry.
I've been persuaded that this is really valuable. I don't think I can make the case to put it in the base, but I do see this as a very useful tool for counselors across the state. So I match what the agency was asking for Advanced Vermont, which is more than that. So I do see this as a useful tool helping Vermont kids in high schools as well as adults.
So what did you put it at?
I matched the agency ask of $350.
Okay. David?
I did not, but I see the value in it. I like the program. It just didn't bubble up to the very top, but I support the concept and I'm happy to compromise.
At what?
Well, maybe the house budget. 200,000.
Okay, Randy, where are you?
Yeah, I'll go on with that, so I could do well.
Keisha?
The advocate for this, who's in the room, was one of the only people who gave us really strong metrics, which is easier when you're talking about a digital platform, but there's a really good return on investment. If we're talking about, splitting hairs, maybe 300.
At a higher amount.
I mean, because I do know that the person who advocated for it, who, we probably don't have time to really have the full conversation, felt like 200 would really hurt their ability to keep doing what they're doing. And I wanna honor that in that we have a program we funded that works and we could lose ground. And, you know, I cut 50,000 somewhere else to do
How
it.
about 300,000, but at higher,
Okay,
not
Oh,
top,
I
top,
wasn't-
not bottom.
Yeah, and I would weigh in with Thomas at 350. So, there are two Thomases in the room, both of whom support this program. And, I also would weigh in at 350. I'm willing to split the hair at 300 if that would help us go forward. Okay, 300. The,
The next, I
served or learner, Thomas, sorry.
feel like I'm speaking first too much. I'm gonna-
No, you're right.
it's a good flow.
Tactically.
Go for it. You're the first. We
Kind of our clockwise.
These are tough decisions. My biggest concern with this program is I do see it as somewhat not as complementary as it could be with our BSU, our ETC, and our other initiatives. So I match the house, and it'd be a hard sell for me to go to the $2 million agency ask.
Okay. David?
Yeah, my challenge here, I like the serve and learn part, the earn part. I struggle with only because there's huge benefit going to the students, And I think that when you try to balance out what you're giving and what you're getting, I think it's the emphasis is too heavy on earn.
So what
But I'm
did you?
willing to compromise because I just came out of a program on Monday that was talking about, how the benefits of this, and I get it. I'm just,
Okay,
the earn part still bothers me a bit.
where did you land?
Well, I zeroed it.
Oh, okay. And Randy, where are you?
I'm probably at $1 million.
I'm with Randy. I got supposed to compromise at $1 million.
I was gonna do
They're
that.
really good at fundraising also, and other folks on this list, I know everyone does try to fundraise, but you know, it's a skill, it's a muscle, and they leverage our dollars with
Wonderful.
lots of other grassroots Vermont contributions.
If people are willing, I would settle this at 1 million and I would make it a higher.
Works.
Okay, so you can cross out that 7 million. We've not been asked to advocate for that. I don't know why that's there. And the million for brownfields is incorporated in our 2 or 3 million ask up at the top for brownfields. First degree promise is the next thing we should discuss. And first degree promise, I just want to remind you, this is the McClure Foundation bridging high school students, keeping high school students engaged, bridging them through dual enrollment and early college into an associate's degree. This is a great net catcher of students who we might lose otherwise and gets them certified into a program, certifications, and into possible apprenticeships. To me, this is a big bang for the buck and capturing a lot of students who we may be losing elsewhere. So they have asked the state, they have been carrying the weight on this program, all the financial weight, which is, I can't remember the total amount, but it's well over $1 million. And this is their ask to have the state, I believe, to have the skin in the game, if that's a fair way of putting it. Is that a fair way of putting it? Thank you.
I zeroed it out, but I hear you, and I could go get to 250 and high priority.
David, where did you?
Yeah, so I zeroed it as well. I fully respect what the Third Foundation's doing. I just, in this particular program, this sounds like a broken record, but there's no focus on the degrees. There's no give back to the gift. So that's why I zeroed it.
Right. So-
But I fully respect the program. It's completely unfocused.
I would disagree with that, but I appreciate your other thoughts. I think it's pretty focused on career and technical education students who are doing dual and first college and keeping them in. I think it's pretty focused on a very specific population. But Randy, where are you on the first degree
This
process?
again is one of my ROI things that I would love to see,
I bet they,
economic analysis
I
on
think-
ROI to this, but
yeah, they may have that if you're listening, Rebecca, and I think they have some of that already. So where are you on the money?
Probably this is relevant right now.
Okay. Keisha, where are you?
I don't want to speak specifically to the program because I wasn't able to be here for that testimony, but I will say, I think we can only afford to fund like one good degree promise program, like if we're keeping one, it's really hard to split up our money and have the same impact. So if we're keeping the first, what is it? Freedom and Unity.
Okay, so I hear the committee weighing in. I would fund it at 250, but I hear the committee sort of landing on maybe let's wait a year on this one.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could all say I fund everything because I feel so to be fair.
I feel well, and so the last piece we have, and then we're going to be pivoting to unpaid leave. Apologies for all of you who are waiting for that, but this is our top priority for the day. So, military, there comes Chad. Military, now, we have yet to hear, we're gonna begin to hear this. The reason this is in this committee is that Randy and I have been working on viewing this instead of just the financial lens, because it's in the finance committee at the moment. Instead of this just being a finance issue, this is also a recruitment issue. This is a workforce development issue. So Randy and I have been looking to include it in our workforce development bill. And I've asked, and Randy has been working on this with Pat and others.
This drafting is expanded from the military retirement bills that we have on the wall right now to be both the military retirement tax exemption, but the focus on it is really recruitment of the skills that we are, if you remember the brochure that we see that lists the skills, focus it on targeted recruitment, because having this tax benefit, which we are the 47 states that already have what we don't have. And as a result, we know that we're losing people. We have a draining. It also is an issue, and General Knight is going to be talking about in his testimony, is affecting guard recruitment for the long term, and it's causing a drain there. The goal, though, of this bill, it's like a development tool, is to focus on targeted recruitment of the skill sets that we need, people that we know from retiring from military bases and their spouses and their kids to relocate in Vermont. It's not just the retention of National Guard people that General Knight is mostly concerned about.
Preaching to the choir.
So, I mean, that's the goal. We have 21 members of the Senate who've signed on to it. We have 175 at least of the House members. So if we at least get it, we do have some folks who are leaders.
50 House members.
Excuse me, 150 House members.
So you have a lot of House members.
We have a lot of House.
So I would, so where do people weigh in on this? Because we haven't yet, this is again, something we haven't yet fully discussed. So it's just
Well, we discuss it every year for the past 5 years.
And a lot of us, have had.
a lot.
Yeah.
You've had
I think that
two of us.
the National Guard would love to come and talk.
No, they're coming.
They're coming.
Yeah, so
We're all set on that. We're all set. It's just, this is again, like the AG request on training, upskilling. This is something we're hearing about when we have time. But given our modest time, we're doing as much as we can. Okay, so what do I hear on this, Thomas?
I'm a highest at full amount.
Say, this is win-win-win.
It is.
Keisha?
I think it should leave the committee this way. I could see finance having a conversation about phasing it in over 2 years.
Yeah.
I would put that out there because it still has a road ahead of it. But I think out of this committee, we should underscore it as a clear economic development value, because people will say these are folks who make a lot of money. That's actually an argument to keep them in the state.
I know that's
and
an
give them
argument.
a chance at a second career and to bring their skills here, especially as we face uncertainty and natural disasters and safety issues.
So the four of us, it sounds like four of you are very strongly supportive of this at this amount. I will join you. So where I think we're going to have to pivot. We have had Chad join us, and we want to clarify on the VHFA ask. I know we were directly asking you.
Yes.
And I figured you'd show up, and you did. It's amazing. This wasn't possible 20 years ago. So we are.
Years ago.
Well, it's astonishing. So I think we're clear on that your compromise ask is 17.5.
So basically.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry, can I just, I'm sorry I missed this. I was.
yeah, you were
committee
doing
business. We have VHCB at 5 million.
no, we are further discussing the HCB.
When?
We put it to for our discussion right now, but I just want, with Chad in the room, I just wanted to clarify. The understanding with the VHFA asked all of them, first gen, revolving loan, middle income, and the home ownership centers.
Mhm.
That total ask is 17.5 now.
Where is it?
Madam Chair, when you say the total ask 17.5, does that also include this $5 million for enhanced capacity production of affordable housing? I'm getting confused with these 5 line items and what.
There are four line items. It should be, well, and Chad can clarify. I believe I understand it to be middle income, rental housing revolving loan fund, first gen home ownership, and the home ownership centers. Is that correct?
Chad Simmons, Vermont Housing Finance Agency. So the 3 programs that we administer are the 2 middle income programs,
Right.
homeownership and rental revolving loan fund. So those are lines 8 and 9. And then the first gen, when Maura was in here previously, we were originally looking for that as a 5-year tax credit. And that's how the program was paid for. And both the House and Senate appropriations zero that out. So what we're asking for right now is, instead of that tax credit, it would come out of a one-time appropriation from that combined 17.5. So in total, VHFA is looking for 17.5 million. And we've asked both appropriations to combine those 2 middle income programs in the language.
Right.
So it would be 16.5 million and 1.5 million for first gen. Okay. And the homeownership centers are through the nonprofit.
Right, but you administer them. You,
VHFA does not.
okay.
That helps. I don't know how to translate that to an appropriate role.
And Chris can
speak to the homes.
Speak
Chris,
to
can you
the-
speak to the homeownership?
The homeownership center?
The homeownership.
I can, Chris can, I mean, Chris can do the actual, what is the amount, going toward it's protecting a really, really important program, something that I mentioned, at least in here, I used it. They are advertised widely. They are often many people's first entrance into the questions of homeownership. Who do I talk to? How do I get a loan?
They're
first, between the two, like first generation homeownership is the hill I will die on, because it is, in my mind, the greatest thing we can do for the economy and individual people at the same time.
Well, it's certainly very important, and one that we have begun in many ways in this committee. And so, but the homeownership centers, there are 5 of them there that are our partners.
Yes.
And this money goes to them to help new homeowners like Keisha, like Becca White, like many of our colleagues, navigate homeownership. They then would go and direct them to Chad and first gen, possibly. But they are the navigators that help our first time home buyers enter into homeownership.
It says homeownership centers, but it's homeownership education. So
yes, it is
quite literally, like, it's a day-long training. They bring in people to do that. You're really committing to something that is a tangible cost for them to put on. So you're not sort of just paying for someone to sit at a desk.
Right.
The participants actually pay $100 to do this course. So they put money down. The cost just pays the.
I think
the amount of money that we have.
Why wouldn't the participant fully fund themselves to cover the program? Like, why does the state have to be involved?
The state doesn't have to be involved. If the request is to subsidize these programs so that it can be affordable and accessible to more people.
Okay, so the question is why? Why can't the participant?
Well, it's
Because they can't
there's
afford
there's 1,000 people that will
Well,
go
they
to
can't
the
afford a
program.
house. If they're really serious about exploring that opportunity, why can't they pay for themselves?
If you're in your, I'm not trying to speak about myself. If you're in your mid-20s with kids, which I was not, but and you are saving every penny to try and buy a house, then $100 is actually a decent amount of money to put down.
So
I'm not gonna die on that hill.
Okay.
I think this is not.
I hear you.
I wonder if did you just split the difference?
So I did, I
So-
tried to reflect like I heard
Okay.
by lowering these two to 16 million and then I reallocated,
No, because it's not in
So-
the VHFA money. The VHFA is 17.5, I think at the moment we're thinking about. And the homeownership's separate. And if we want to consider less, we can do that. I just want to ask Chris, before we make a decision on this, why did it come in so late? And why wasn't it included in the House or this,
Wasn't in the
governor's budget?
governor's, was not in the governor's budget. This is a program that is just running a shortfall. It's running a shortfall and
And so it didn't get presented in the House?
it did get presented in the House and it was in the House's bill.
Oh,
And it
we
got
didn't
stripped out.
ask to appropriations.
And it got
That's it.
stripped
That's
out
how I-
like a lot of other things, just like your stuff got stripped out here.
Right, got it. So it was in the House bill and was pulled. Okay, got it. So what's your pleasure on that? Because we did not make a decision on that. Because I thought it was part of the 17.5.
Can we split the difference at 250?
I'm happy to. I'd be willing to do 5.
homeownership center.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have it at 250 at the moment and it's such an important program. So the last discussion we have yet to have, and I apologize to our unpaid leave people, but this is our top priority for today, is to get our funding request to Senate appropriations, and you understand that.
Can we do the red one as, I'm asking for this to be highest. It is my highest priority. And I just want to say that when we did the property transfer tax increase last year, I worked with the Senate Appropriations Committee to make sure this was one of the highest priorities of taxing non-primary residences. That if we're going to tax non-primary residences, for me, the very direct good is that you are helping people buy their first home who live here and want to work here.
Agreed, but I just am concerned. It's $1 million ask and it's included in the 17.5.
Right.
So the 250 it absolutely historically belongs in what we passed, but 1 million is the need that if they pivoted to
Right.
in the evolution of this bill.
And I thought it was, if you could make that 1 million and middle income homeownership 6.5, I feel like that's a good marriage of the concepts because
Yes,
you
good,
don't
okay.
get middle income homeownership without helping people
Okay,
buying a house.
I could land there. I'm happy to land there. So that, and it's highest for me also, but it fits in. I can see how the committee might land it higher.
I go
Good as
higher,
well.
sensing where the committee has been in this discussion.
So we had 2 people zeroed out, or 3.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
So,
I'm not going to die on the higher, highest hill.
okay, so can we put it at least at high
So
for
we're
that
looking essentially at taking to get to a total, and we know that some
of
of that
17.5?
will be first generation home ownership. But what
Mhm.
we're asking here is that of the monies that would be in one of these other categories, they're going to be reduced presumably
We did.
by whatever it would
But-
take to get to 1 million. Is that?
We
We did.
did it for
Yeah,
them.
and I see that.
I removed $1 million
I
from
see
there. per
Okay, so
device.
I just, given our time, I
All
would
right.
really love to have a shift. I think we're in a good place. We need to have this conversation about the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board. I just don't, I mean, everything here is so valuable. And I hope everybody knows that on the whole, we applaud the work that's done in every one of these line items and are heartsick. We just haven't won Powerball in Whitehall yet to be able to fund them all. The VHCB is the pillar upon which most of the rest of our housing work is done, our affordable housing work. I cannot say enough how much I support this and as much as we can give. And so in with that sort of notion, I would give a green light to the Senate Appropriations Committee to put as many resources as they are able in the course of their discussions to VHCB rather than our asking for a specific amount. But if we have to put in a specific amount for this bill, I would, and Gus was here yesterday asking for us to consider a range from the BAA, which was 8.5 to 25 million, which was the House ask. And where do we want to land within that range of 8.5 to 25 million? And I would land either at 15 or 20, or at 10 or 15 for this conversation, but with a highest priority. And I know you've all weighed in at this. Where does VHCB land for everybody else? Thomas?
So the BAA had more like 8 million, and I did touch base with
8.5.
8.5, and I touched base with approached different senators today, and I do think it's going to land somewhere above 5, probably a 7 or 8 million. I can put 15 million, but just money has to come from somewhere,
Yep.
and I'm just living in the world of reality that I just don't think it's going to materialize. But I also don't not on approach, and I don't know how that waterfall thing works, and if that would even work if additional revenues come in contingency funding.
Are you talking about the treasurer's money? The water?
I don't,
There's,
Okay, because the treasurer that is still a discussion. And the treasurer was in this morning.
I would not put any pennies from heaven, falling out of the sky right now. And we are about to get something else falling out of
Too
the
much
sky.
uncertainty.
So how do the rest of, so you weighed in to Thomas at what?
I did cut it to 3 million to get to my numbers to balance, but we have it at 5 million with our
Yeah.
current target or total amount of 56 million.
Okay, David, where are you?
I'd like to hear everyone else's comments before I.
Okay, Randy, where are you?
I'm perplexed.
Okay.
Seriously,
Yeah, no, it's,
whatever number we pick is frankly, it's kind of arbitrary.
okay, sure.
In the same mental space as Randy, what I would say is that I can't see putting more money into the rental housing revolving loan fund right now. Cause that, we can keep that going. It doesn't it's
Not gonna roll over on us.
yeah, we have VHIP, we have a lot of other things helping to create rental housing right now. VHCB does help us buy motels, helps us really take the very expensive costs, externalized costs. So I would put VHCB at 10 in this list and take it from the rental housing revolving loan fund to keep our numbers at 55.
What if we split it and did 4.5 to both?
I would put VHCB higher than the rental housing.
I would too. I just think it is the pillar. I mean, it's actually several pillars because nothing can stand on one pillar.
Leverages.
So
It leverages.
it leverages so much money and so much private investment and so much. It's sort of,
If we
It's
started
the
at 10, it will go down. And to me,
so
it is the,
What should I type?
I would, okay, I would recommend we type in 10, put it as highest and go over our goal a little bit.
And then are we gonna keep this back at the 10 and then just go over and spend money? I still say drunken sailor. I don't know if that's correct.
So
well, we're almost exactly where the governor is, but I don't like magical thinking. I would take things back.
I don't either. Remember, this is a recommendation to a committee that has now to make even harder choices. So I think we're making hard choices. And I think we are,
But I think our total should be where we think our total should be, and we make that hard decision first.
Yeah, I agree.
Can I make the case that I can support that for the 10 million, but can we increase the middle income ownership of the rental housing fund at the lower amounts to be either highest or higher? They seem to be really good programs
Okay, I think
with this too.
I'm usually the one who advocates for middle income homeownership. It is a program I do care a lot about. It's a very expensive unit of housing. That's all I want to say.
so I think that keeps us,
lower.
Thomas, does that recommendation there keep us at,
We're at 58 million.
okay, that.
The
works.
house was at 43 million. So I think that's where the difference is gonna be.
I would take another million from downtown tax credit.
For middle income. Home ownership,
No, downtown tax credit.
like.
I think it leverages much more than the middle income housing. I would take middle income housing down and keep the tax credit. It leverages so much.
I think you'd have to take both down. I just think under 5 million and it's not really,
Lower this with 5 million?
yeah, the middle income program just it's like almost non-functional with a small amount of money. Cause you're trying to help advocate.
It costs a lot, and that's
Yeah.
part of the challenge, is it costs
It's
a
about
lot for very,
$120,000 per unit,
right, it costs a lot for few units is the challenge.
Sure.
but you are creating homeowners.
Currents with that point? Were you in agreement with it?
No, I'm listening.
Oh, I
So,
lowered it to 5 million for middle income home ownership. And if you did, I also heard somebody mention something about the downtown tax credits to lower that to get another million.
and I think we landed it for, quite honestly, it leverages almost more than almost anything except VHCB and the VHFA investments.
So where else would you take money?
I would leave it where we are and make and give, and I think we're in a good place.
If you not leave it where we are,
Again, we've got priorities here. We've got
We've got-
numbers here. That's all. we
We've
can do.
identified priorities.
This won't be a
it's
perfect problem.
57.
7 million.
And I think I think that's good. I think we have done good work and
We reduced our own work by $1 million-ish.
Oh, I
No.
can't say that.
by
Yeah, we had a
86.
good
Oh,
point.
I'm seeing Senka passed at 58.
No, but we had a ton more asks. Remember all the pending
We
tasks?
started with giving everybody everything they wanted. That was 86 million. So we cut it down.
Oh,
We,
but I think we also just deleted things that are being asked for elsewhere.
no, the only one that was true of on
Right.
there was the Arts Council because it's
I
being
care about
considered.
All right, for the theater.
I thought you said brownfields was something else too.
No, oh, that was a duplicative line. It was a.
Okay, well, how much do you have for brownfields?
RPCs were not.
We have 4,750,000. Which is 2,750,000 more than the house and 750,000 more than the other.
I think that's a good landing spot, given that we heard
I'm
need
gonna
help.
share this with all of you, and then before we send it to, I will ask you to, or you and me to send it to
Yep.
someone to those. Does that work?
Yes, I think if you could send it to a pro, and if we could print it out. If you could send it to Heidi and print it out, and then we can, this is again, an evolving conversation. So this, I think that this is a good major step forward.
And I did send you a copy about 10 minutes ago, so ignore that one, and this is the one that we all.
Okay, great.
I think what often concerns me is when really busy people doing good work can't sit in our committee or don't know exactly when to influence something, or we made a mistake. And we have like 50 emails at least each about small business.
I know I collected them all last night.
So,
But they're all the same thing. They're all basically the same email saying this is such an important program, and we have honored that by giving them $2 million.
oh, I don't know where it is. Is it in there?
Yes, of course it's in
Which one is it?
Are you sure about
I
that?
don't think that's true.
municipal technical assistance. It's the same
No,
thing.
it's not.
It is the same thing.
No, it's not. MTAP is very different.
No, it's not. It is, I believe, the same program, Small Business Technical Assistance Program. It's
MTAP
called,
is municipal. That's for bylaws.
I believe, my understanding is it's the same
Let's
program.
make clarity on this.
We will clarify that and we can further discuss it. My understanding is it's the same. It's what Melissa Bounty is advocating for and Andy Julo. It is, I believe.
But
the same
Josh,
thing.
I thought the LCT came in advocating for MTAP.
It's,
Where's,
I believe it is the same program. We can absolutely clarify. Can we clarify that somewhere? Yes, I believe it's the same program. It just is called two different things because it's used municipally, but it is the small, yeah, maybe
I don't know.
I don't know either, but we will let's clarify that. And because Melissa Bounty unleashed, you're right, a ton of emails about it. And you're right, maybe that is a mix up. But
they're very different things.
But we had,
I guarantee
yeah, no.
municipal bylaws.
I think you're
and
absolutely right now that
supporting
we're
tiny
thinking about
businesses
this.
are
Yep.
very different things.
So, I'm generally, okay, let's get clarity on that and we will get people in, tomorrow and we will clarify that. But let's, for the moment, we have time, let's weigh in on this. Thank you. I just thought that we were all on, it was the same program, different things. And now, but your, as to like the tone of it is very different. She knows lessons. And it's different. Yes. So,
I can.
So let's
Text
get,
about
so
it.
we've been sitting here for an hour now. Let's take 5 minutes to stretch our legs and let's clarify that, Keisha? Okay. Can we go off live for a minute? Thank you all. And for people who are listening,
Oh.
I got it. That's our only.
Yeah.